And welcome to our webinar on pervasive errors, namely pervasive error code 20, error code 116, error code 161, and 94. What we're going to be discussing today is we're going to be discussing ways to try to prevent these types of errors and solutions that you may try. There are certain things that can cause these errors, like Windows updates or firewalls not being properly configured, etc. So I'm going to take you through that so that there are things that you can be aware of. Should that issue come up, you'll know what to look for. So guys, normally in order to prevent pervasive errors, we need to ensure that our windows and certain things within our windows are set up correctly. And for those of you who don't know or understand what pervasive really is, Pastel has two components. You have your interface and you have your database. Your database is called pervasive. This is where all the information is written into tables and that information is kept. It is called the back end of your system. So it's like SQL, that type of thing, Access. That is your database. It runs all the time. And it is a live database. It's also why certain things like Windows updates might seem to affect Pastel more than it affects another program. Most of your other programs, for example, Excel, Word, Outlook, are not necessarily running off of a live database that is as affected by those things. It also depends what parts of Windows integrate with your Pastel or your pervasive. Pastel itself, the application that you open, is then your interface. This is where you actually work within the software. So when you install your pervasive, it depends on what version you're installing. Are you installing 9? Are you installing 10? Are you installing 13? And that all depends on what options you'll have available. You also need to ensure that the version of Windows you are running is compatible with the version of pervasive you're running. So guys, a lot of people at times, because something's stable, they're like, no, I want to stay on this build. I want to stay on this pervasive. Guys, if you're increasing your Windows, that's actually not going to work, because certain versions of Pastel as well as pervasive will no longer be compatible. And while it may work for a period of time, if you do a Windows update, it may stop working. So basically 9, 10, and 13 are compatible with Windows 10, but only 10 and 13 are compatible with the latest versions of Server. From Server 2008R, only 9 and 13 were compatible with those. So if you're running Server 2008R or above and you're trying to use Pervasive 9, it's not going to work. So just a tip there, you would need to update or increase your pervasive licenses to the latest version. So that's something to bear in mind, and to also realize that things may stop working because of, as I mentioned, Windows updates. Now, generally error code 20, what that means when you get a pervasive error code 20 is that the engine is not licensed or is not running. And the reason I'm speaking about the different versions of pervasive is that Pervasive 9, you had to install as an application, which means, yes, there's an option to start and stop an engine. However, with Pervasive 10, you would have the option of installing it as a service or an application. And generally, if we tell you to go start the engine, you'll go start and you'll see that it says start service, and that is not actually your pervasive. That is your Sage connected services. So if you go to start and you don't see start engine, stop engine, or if you go and you look for your pervasive, because you've gotten this error code 20, sorry guys, mine is called, I think, Actian, unless I uninstalled that. Yeah, so I'm using 13. So 9 and 10 were still called Pervasive P, but from 13 it was called Actian PSQL. And if you go here, if you did install it as an application, it should come up and say start engine, stop engine. However, if that does not come up, that means that you will need to go to your control panel and you will need to start and stop the service. So you would go to administrative tools and then you would select services. And again, here I'm going to look for Actian, but you may need to look for Pervasive. So you're either looking for Pervasive Workgroup Engine or Server, or you're looking for Actian. And this should be set to automatic and it should say running. But even if it does that, in this instance, what you can do is you can go stop the service because you're getting an error code 20, maybe something's gone wrong, and then you're going to say start service. That is the same as stop engine, start engine. On top of that, guys, in your system tray, you actually want to see the proper option of this running. So here we can see the notification is running, but I don't actually see that my database is running. So it looks very similar, a little tower with a little green dot. So that may refresh as I started that, or when I open Pastel, it may initiate. And guys, that's sometimes why you might also get the error code 20. Sometimes with Pervasive, if your PC hasn't fully initiated, even though you tell it to start Pervasive when you start the machine, sometimes it hasn't actually started your Pervasive database yet. You go into Pastel, you get an error code 20, you close Pastel, you open it again and it works. The database wasn't initiated. So there is another way that you can go and have a look. You can go into this PC, you can go into your C drive, and you can go into your programs. So in my case, it's x86, and you will find your Actian or your Pervasive. So guys, please remember, again, I'm using 13, so it's Actian, but if you're using 10 or 9, it would be Pervasive. And you're going to go into bin. And what you're going to look for is you're going to look for the Pervasive database. And there's a couple of other tips I'm going to give you after this. So it's wbretrieve, sorry guys. Generally when I add this, it's a little easier to find. wbtr, and there should be a database manager here. So sorry about this, guys. I'm just taking a little bit of time to find my database, but you can double click on it to obviously initiate it. It should be an exe. You've also got your Pervasive Control Center, and that is something that if you're running 10, it may not have installed the first time, and you may need to run the installation again to install your PCC. Here it is, W3 DBS Manager exe. And you can just double click as it is actually an executable file just to make sure that that is actually running. And then you can close it and try to open your Pastel again. Obviously, guys, if you've tried all of this and it's not working, chances are your Pervasive actually isn't licensed, or the license has gone missing, or the licenses are incorrect. And it's not so much that the engine isn't running. In this instance, you can either look for this option, which is a key in a circle with little arrows. It's called cadm.exe, which is actually your license administrator, or you can just go to search and type in license administrator. What it should do is it should open, and you should be able to then see your licenses accordingly. Please double check the vendor number. So guys, a lot of the time what will happen is you'll know that you've got a 5-user license, and like mine, you see a 2 and then you see a 1 and you're like, oh no, they said I should only have, for example, the 2. And you remove the 1, but one of them might be your point of sale license, or, you know, please don't delete them if they've got different vendor numbers. That's important. Obviously, if you're seeing a whole host of licenses here and they all have the same vendor number, you need to know what you licensed for. As well, if you see 10 and you're seeing 9 and you're seeing 13, you need to remove the licenses of the versions you are no longer using. And all that you do is select them and say deauthorize. So you just need to check that, and the server and the workstation's licenses need to be the same. Okay, so guys, just very quickly, someone did ask if this is being recorded. Yes, guys, it is being recorded, and at the end of the session, once the recording is made available, I will send an email out with all of the documentation and a link to the video itself. So guys, that is our license administrator, and it's important to check that. although you may not necessarily be able to change anything in there by adding a license, you can remove things that might be blocking. So like I said, if you, for example, you've gone from 10 to 13, but you still have 10 licenses, those licenses need to be removed, but they need to be removed on the server. Double check that the server is correct, and then it filters down to the workstation. And that I will cover when we do the 161. So we're working through error code 20. Those are the two things you need to check. Is the service running? Is it licensed? Now, guys, another thing that can cause the error 20 is if you check for Windows updates. And it does seem strange, but yes, we have noticed that that can cause the licensing not to work. So you go check Windows updates. And guys, you can check that I actually have pending installs. So those will happen when I shut down. It is controlled by my IT. It's not something I have control over, but most of you should have control of your updates. If you see that you do need to do updates, please do them, especially with Windows 10, guys. You can't stop updates from happening anymore. Windows forces them, and we strongly advise that you keep up with them. A big reason for that is that Pastel is very dependent on .NET. And a lot of these updates, especially these ones that you see here, have a .NET element to them. And what we found is that if there is an install that needs to update .NET, often it will freeze .NET from running, and then you may get a number of errors. You may get an error code 20, you may be told Pastel is configuring and it'll just loop. You may get certain other errors that are strange. So any errors that you actually get in Pastel when starting your program, always check for Windows updates firstly, because that may be the problem. And another thing that you do need to check, especially with .NET, is you need to actually make sure that your .NET is fully turned on. Turn Windows. So guys, you're basically going to search and you're going to go turn Windows features on or off. And this is very important, other than a couple of the other things I'm going to go through in the control panel shortly. You'll see that normally you have .NET Framework 3.5, and that will include .NET 2 and 3, as well as .NET Framework 4.7 Advanced. And guys, a lot of the time what will happen is it'll just show a block and you kind of go, yeah, no, it's selected. That's not selected. We need it to be fully ticked. So you'll need to expand. You'll need to tick everything for .NET and say, okay. Windows will then install those features, and it's very important that it's fully installed. Past that, guys, you will also need to ensure that your user account control is switched off. So a lot of the time with pervasive licensing, unless you're running client server, and server you actually will put the license in, but on the client side, it will automatically add it on registering. Pastel adds the license in the background, especially for workgroup. So again, in your control panel, you need to go and check your user account control. Depending on what you're looking at. So guys, if you're looking at category, you're going to go to user accounts. If you want to change this to large or small icons, you can do that. It just skips a step. But basically what you're looking for is where it goes, change user account control. On top of that, if you're not sure how to get there, you can go to the search control and you can type in UAC. It will just go U and then you just go UAC again. And it will know that that means change user account control settings. And guys, this needs to be set at never notify. Now, this was an idea that Windows had to kind of inform people when something was happening with their computers. But guys, it's like if someone tries to run an install, it will tell you. So they're kind of like if someone comes in and you see an install wants to run, it'll warn you, hey, this is happening. Do you want to continue? And you can say yes or no. The problem is when we're dealing with a background process, Windows automatically declines it. And that doesn't help since a lot of programs do actually do things in the background. Your UAC being on will affect your licensing. It will affect your Sage Intelligence. It will affect your SQL if you're running Debtors Manager and point of sale. So guys, there are a number of things that this being switched on will actually cause errors in. So please make sure your UAC is turned off. If you have a decent IT guy, which a lot of people do, your firewall and your antivirus, they will configure that actually this doesn't matter. That should be properly configured, and that should be where the energy goes to in order to make sure that you are not at risk. This little thing being on, most dangerous hackers can get past anyway. So please understand, we are not putting your computer at risk. I have been asked that before. No, guys, turning this off doesn't put your PC at risk because you have a firewall and antivirus which is meant to handle that. So you'll put it at never notify and you will say okay, because most of the time this feature just irritates you as a user. It does not really help protect your PC. So guys, as long as that's switched off, then that shouldn't stop the pervasive from applying. If it was switched on, what you will need to do is then redo your registration for the licensing to pull through. That may be a problem if you are getting an error code 20 and you don't have a license. In that instance, you may have to uninstall and reinstall your pervasive in order for it to give you a temporary license, just so you can go in and register. So that is another place that you can go. The other thing that you do need to check, so guys, if you've tried everything to get past error code 20, and we do have documentation on this. Sorry guys, my PC seems to have frozen. Okay guys, I'm not sure why my PC is frozen, but I actually wanted to get back into my control panel. And I'm not sure if any of you can hear me. So guys, my PC seems to have done a frozen thing at the moment. I'm not sure what's happened. Okay, for some reason my taskbar is not accessible, and there is a feature I need to show you in the control panel. I'm so sorry about this, guys. It is not good. Okay, guys, in the documentation, it should be there. I seem to have frozen my PC, its taskbar, but if you go to your region and language, you need to ensure that you don't have a feature ticked, which is a beta version, and it was a problem a while ago. It doesn't seem to be a problem now, and I am waiting for my taskbar to actually show itself, but I will try to continue this session as best as I can without that until it does respond, because obviously there are steps that you need to see, but there is another section I did want to show you. I'll come back to it if I can. If I can't, guys, it will be in the notes. If you are getting an error code 20 and you're running client server, there is one additional step you can take besides checking your firewall and making sure that the pervasive ports and the database are there. And guys, what that is that you need to ensure the start in. So on the server should start in the C drive, but on the workstations, they need to actually start in on the map drive. And often you'll get an error code 20 on the workstation if the start in is the C drive. Either you can come here and you can put in just the map drive letter with your, so for example, P and then your backslash, sorry. And if it's to the P drive, or alternatively, what you can do that's pretty easy. Okay, so yeah, guys, my whole file explorer has gone. I do apologize. Guys, I'm gonna ask you for a little bit of patience if you wouldn't mind. I'm gonna see if I cannot log into a backup laptop that I have. Would you guys be okay with that? And I can just see if I can rather use that, because my file explorer seems to have completely crashed. And on the plus side, you can see that we too have problems at times. I'm not sure why my file explorer is crashed. Okay, guys, it might be back. No. Okay, this kind of sucks. Okay, guys, so some of you have said that you don't mind if I try to set up my backup computer very, very quickly. I'm going to try to do that and to log in and see if I can't switch over. I am so sorry about this. I'm not sure what's happened, but my file explorer has crashed, which means that I actually cannot get into 90% of the system, which means I actually cannot show you half the other stuff. So guys, we're going to take a very short recess for about 5 minutes while I just try to set up my other PC. Again, guys, I do apologize for this. Hey guys, I'm nearly there. Yeah, please just stay logged in here. So what I'm doing is I'm actually logging in on a different computer. And what I'm going to do, so that's why I didn't want to just restart my PC because it would have mean I lose all of you. I'm logging onto a completely separate computer and I will run the webinar from that computer. So I will give myself access to that computer shortly. So please don't go anywhere. We will continue this in a few moments. Again, my sincerest apologies. Okay, guys, so I've give me a sec. Guys, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, hopefully you are all still with me. I've transferred the session from my computer to my other backup laptop, and we can continue with the session. So guys, you're probably seeing my dashboard on my webinars. I'm going to close that for now. And okay, so guys, like I was saying, if you need to go into your control panel, especially with error code 20, so some of the stuff I've told you actually applies to all the errors that we've gone through, or it applies to all the errors we will go through. So a lot of the stuff you need to do this anyway, but this specifically applies to error code 20. What you'll do is you'll go to clock region and language and to region. And guys, it's something that's pretty specific to Windows 10. And you're going to go to administrative and you're going to see that it's going to advise language for Unicode programs. And if you go to change system locale, you need to make sure that this is unticked. So on occasion, this will be ticked. We've noticed this generates error code 20. Sometimes a Windows update may automatically tick it. And you just make sure that that isn't ticked. This should be basically the last thing you check, but that shouldn't be ticked. Other than that, guys, in your control panel, the other thing that we would advise that you do is obviously depending category view or large, small, however you get there, and I generally go there via large or small icons just because it's a little bit easier for me, is you want to go to your Windows firewall and you want to make sure that you go to advanced settings and then you make changes to your firewall. So don't switch it off, but you're going to add exceptions. So you're going to add inbound and outbound rules. I just need to see if those rules are here. So guys, here you'll see that I actually have added those rules, and you need to do it to both your inbound and your outbound rules. So you will actually allow it access, and you need to. So this is actually my database itself that I've added, as well as you will need to add the ports. And guys, unfortunately with my PC being down, I can't remember the ports off by heart. I do apologize about that, but it will be in the documentation I send you. So how you'll do that is you'll first go new rule, and you'll say program, and you'll say next. You'll then browse to where your pervasive is. So for example, you will go to your C drive. You will then go into your program files. In my case, Actian. In your case, it might say pervasive. You'll go into bin and you're going to find your pervasive database. So it's the one that looks like the tower. W3 DBS manager, and you'll say next. You want to allow the access. So you're going to allow the connection, next. Here, guys, if you're unsure where the rule should apply, please speak to your IT just to make sure that you're not opening yourself up to anything. But generally, we say just select everything. Next, and you're going to give it a name. So, for example, pervasive database. And you're going to say finish. And then, guys, you'll go right back and you're going to do that for your outbound rules as well. So please don't just do it for inbound. You've got to do it for inbound and outbound. And again, you'll do program and you'll follow the exact same steps. When you're going to do the ports, you'll specifically say ports next, and you'll say specific ports, and you'll enter those ports. So like 1859, and I think it's 3351. Guys, please don't quote me on that. I could have the ports a little bit wrong. So I will send you the port numbers, but it's 2 ports. You do a comma, you'll say next, allow the connection, next. You'll select the profiles you want it to apply to, next, and you'll give it a name. And again, it's for inbound and outbound. So you'll have 2 exceptions on inbound, 2 exceptions on outbound, and one will say pervasive database, one pervasive ports, and it'll be the same for both, and you will allow those connections. We advise that you also get your IT to do this in your antivirus. Now, guys, that's obviously, I was talking about error code 20, but a lot of what I advise actually also applies for your 116, your 161, and your 94. So the turning off the UAC actually applies to all of those errors. The UAC has to be off. Your license administrator has to be correct. The adding the pervasive database and ports has to be done on your firewall and antivirus on all machines. And your Windows, the .NET and your Windows update. So that actually applies to all of those. Then obviously I had the very specific Unicode, which was your error code 20 and starting and stopping the service. So guys, that's specific to error code 20. When we get to a 116, now guys, a 116 and a 161 often get confused. A 116 is a network issue. And I don't mean that it's a network issue in that, oh, your network is wrong, go figure out the problem. It's a communication issue over the network. Now, that could indicate that there is a problem with your network, but it could indicate that there actually is just a problem with the workstation communicating with the server, the pervasive on the server. And when you have that problem, guys, we advise that you run something called the Pervasive System Analyzer. So you can just type in System Analyzer, and it should open the System Analyzer. And what this will do is, and we advise that you run it from the workstation to the server, and then we advise that you run it from the server back to the workstation. And how you do that is you test the installation, and you either can put in the IP address of the machine you're testing. So if I was on the workstation, I would put in the server's IP address or the server's name, or you can click on the 3 dots and it will open up your network and you can select the server from here. Now that's if I was running workstation to server. And I would say next, and it will run a communication test to see if I get an error. Likewise, you do that from the server to the workstation. Guys, because I'm a single, well, this is one PC, I'm not going to run the test. But if you run that test and it's communicating and you get a WinSock error, invariably that means that your firewall or your antivirus is blocking this. So there's a block somewhere, and generally the WinSock error will either be that the firewall, you'll find that the inbound rule is blocked or the outbound rule is blocked. So I've found often adding the pervasive database and ports to the firewall, inbound and outbound rules works, as well as your antivirus. Worst case scenario, turn them off and see if it works. Obviously, guys, if you're still getting that WinSock error, then yes, you're going to need IT to look into it. There may be something on the network. But as I said, because you're getting a 116 doesn't necessarily mean your network is at fault. It's just the communication between the two machines. So it's really imperative that you run this. If you get no errors, it tells you it connects successfully, everything's fine. Then we need to start looking at things like possibly adding a gateway. So here you can go to Gateway Locator, and you need to do this on the server as well as each workstation, where basically what you'll do is you'll go change. And guys, what you're going to do is on the server, you're going to add it to itself. So yeah, this is my PC's name, but you'll add it to itself. And on the workstations, you will add it to the server computer. So again, you'll just click on the 3 dots and you'll select your server if you're on the workstation, but on the server, you actually add it to itself. Wait, in a session, click on OK, and it should add it. In my case, guys, I'm not actually this PC isn't set up. I do apologize. It's actually my son's PC for his school. So it shouldn't come up with unable to locate. If it does, it's probably because your network locator or you're not discoverable. So your network locator isn't turned on properly, your network discovery, and you'll need to sort out those things. But then that might mean that you don't need a gateway. If your network discovery isn't turned on, that's a bit of a problem. Guys, another reason that you may also be getting pervasive errors is the type of network that you're on. And this is something that we found recently, and I don't know if the recent Windows updates did this, but a couple of my clients actually got this, and it's just info that I want to share with you, and I'm hoping that I'll remember to go to the right place. Sorry about this, guys. Clicked on something. We're looking for network and sharing center. is, guys, please make sure that you are on a private. So here you can see mine says public network. And guys, that's actually bad. This should not say public network. The reason for this, and it is a Windows update because I did one recently and this was definitely set to public, to private, is because this turns you off of being, it turns off your network discovery. You cannot be seen by other computers. And if you are in a network environment, this being public is a major issue. So guys, here you would actually need to go to change advanced sharing settings, I think. I just want to double check if it was that or the adapter settings. And guys, you can see that my network discovery is off, but you need to actually have this changed to private. So this should not be a public at all. And this needs to be changed so that it actually says private. Guys, I've only done it once. I'm not an IT, but that is something that I did want to share with you. So guys, if you find that you have this problem, please will you speak to your IT and please advise them that this needs that needs to be changed, and it needs to be changed to say that it is private. It must not say public. It has to be private. So I can't remember how I changed it now, guys, but it's something that I just remembered that I did want to share with you. This must be private, and then obviously you need to then make sure that your network discovery is on. So that's something that we found recently where a lot of issues are coming up with the pervasive. So guys, that is obviously one of the main things with your 116. Other than the fact that please ensure that the version of pervasive you're running is a version of pervasive you're licensed to use. So guys, if someone has gone and installed 9 and you're licensed for 10, you're going to have issues. So main thing, make sure that the pervasive installed on each machine is the correct version of pervasive that you are licensed for. If you're not sure what version you are licensed for, and someone can open Pastel, so it's on an error code 20, it's a 116 or a 161, and I'll explain what 161 is shortly. You can go and have a look at what you should be running. Again, guys, my apologies, this is a much slower machine than my work computer. Guys, as we're waiting for my Pastel to open, the difference between a 116 is communication between one machine to the server. A 161 is generally a problem with the licensing, and that is normally where the license administrator comes into play. And generally, it will tell you that either Pastel isn't licensed or you've exceeded your licensing. And what you need to check there is you need to actually double check whether the licenses on all of the computers you are using actually open correctly and have the correct licensing. Because what you might find is either one machine has installed the incorrect version of pervasive, so you licensed for 10 and someone's got an installed 13, or someone's license administrator is showing all licenses for 9, whereas everyone else just has the 10 licenses. So it's very important to make sure that all the machines are have the exact same version of pervasive installed, and it is the version of pervasive you are licensed for. So help about, and you can see that I should be using client server version 13. So me having workgroup installed will absolutely generate a 161 because it's not what I'm licensed for. And if you check the license administrator, I then should see, okay, I have a version 13 5-user license, great. If I'm seeing 9 and 10 in there, I need to remove those. If it's on the server, I need to remove them on the server and then redo the registration on all the workstations. Failing that, guys, you need to uninstall pervasive and reinstall pervasive after doing all the other checks. And the other checks are your user account control, your .NET framework, your Windows firewall, and antivirus. So guys, as I said, a lot of what I've shown you is actually you need it for all of them, and then there are specific things for each one. So we've done error code 20, we've done 116 specifics, and we've done 161. Then guys, the last error that I want to touch on, and I'm touching on the most common pervasive errors, is the 94. So guys, about 6 years ago, a 94 and on older versions of Pastel, so I'm talking about probably from version 11 down, it was a permission error. If you got that, it was permissions, you had to sort out your permissions, that was it. Unfortunately, we've noticed that the Pervasive 94 is very specific to Windows 10, and if you're running Pervasive version 10. And what seems to happen is that one workstation will almost lose the ability to be able to access or run or pull the files from the server. And in that instance, unfortunately, you have to work on both the server and the workstation, which does mean a bit of downtime. Generally, what we advise is we advise you to uninstall Pervasive on the server and the workstation, then install it on the server, but install it as an application, not a service. And then redo the registration, then go to the workstation, install Pervasive as an application, do the registration, and that should hopefully work. Guys, if that doesn't work, there are a number of steps that you have to do. You may have to uninstall Pervasive, you may have to uninstall Pastel. On both the server and the workstation, you always start with the server. Once you've uninstalled them and you've reinstalled the server, you're going to have to go into your registry editor. Now, guys, obviously playing in the space can be very dangerous, and you can cause your Windows to crash if you do not follow the instructions exactly. So please bear that in mind. This is the brain of Windows. If you delete an incorrect file, you could crash your Windows and you may have to format your machine. So we do advise, if you do not feel comfortable, please ask your IT to do this. Because firstly, you're going to have to go to your HKey current user, and you're going to have to go to software. Once you've gone to software, you're going to go to VB and VBA program settings, and then you're going to find your Pastel folder. Here we advise that you give full permission. So you need to check, even on restricted, you need to make sure that everyone has full permissions to actually make changes to these files. Because what's happening is when you're trying to open a company and it's telling you it can't access the registration, what it's trying to do is it's trying to write stuff to your registry and it doesn't have access. This normally occurs after a Windows update. And for some reason, yes, we have seen certain Windows updates seem to lock down the firewall on a specific machine, and we're not sure why. We've tried to speak to Microsoft about it, but you can force the permissions. Alternatively, if that doesn't work, you can delete the key. So you can come here, you can go delete. It's going to tell you it's going to delete the key. Guys, deleting your Pastel key is fine. Just don't have your Pastel open. Hopefully I haven't broken mine, but I can fix it if I have. So that won't make a major problem. Where I'm telling you be careful is you don't want to go into any of your other keys accidentally and delete something. We are only specifically removing our Pastel keys. They will not break your Windows. Next, you need to go to your Windows local machine. Again, guys, we're going to go to software. Here, you may see Pervasive software. Again, guys, do not delete this key ever. If we need to, you can uninstall your Pervasive. Here, you just check your permissions, give it full permission. So you go through each option that is set here, and you give full permission. So you make sure everything is ticked. So here you can see my users on, so I would then tick, and I would apply. Once we have done that, guys, and here is where your key may differ a little bit, please bear that in mind. You may have to go to edit search and say default server. In my case, I'm going to go to WOW6432 node, and then I should be able to find my softline folder. Again, guys, if you see Pervasive here, please, again, add those permissions to the Pervasive key. And here, again, we can add our permissions either to the specific version, or you can add it straight to the softline folder. And you can tick all of those options. Failing that, guys, you delete the key. What will happen is you will have to re-register, but you can delete those keys. And hopefully adding those permissions, you do this on the server first, then you share the Pastel folder again, then you go to the workstation. Unmap the drive, install Pastel, remap the drive, and then you set it up like from scratch. Hopefully that gets rid of the 94. Guys, failing that, please phone us and we'll help you. So 94 is either very easy to correct, or it's very difficult. So I've given you a couple of tips, hopefully having the things in place: firewall, antivirus, adding the exceptions, UAC being off, making sure it's properly licensed, making sure it's the correct version, making sure .NET is installed, making sure that your Windows is fully updated will prevent the 94 from happening, but it does happen on occasion. Again, you can also run the system administrator, the system analyzer, and that should help. And guys, those are kind of the tips that I have on all of the different errors. I hope that I've gone through everything, guys. We do have a lot of information available. So guys, we have YouTube videos available. I will put all of the links to those videos for you. So in YouTube, we have a global YouTube site, which is Sage Customer, I think it is. Sage. So it's Sage Customer Support and Training. And you'll see that it's a big green logo. Guys, if you go in there, we are updating monthly here. I hope it doesn't start playing. It might. Give me a sec.
Welcome to Sage Universe.
Guys, you can go to playlists or you can search. And guys, I do have a playlist that I do use. I think there are about 60 or so videos. So basically, you're going to try to find Africa and Middle East. And then, guys, when looking, you're going to find Sage 50C. So you may have to scroll a bit, and you should find our Sage 50cloud Pastel Africa training. And then, guys, do not say play all, otherwise it's going to play all of them. Okay, that was not meant to happen.
Hello. Welcome to the Sage 50cloud Pastel Accounting video. In this video, we will demonstrate.
But basically, you're going to say view full playlist. My apologies. And when you view the full playlist, guys, you can see what's here. So we've got one on the specific errors themselves. So I know that we've done one on error code 20, 161, 116, and 94. And then, guys, we've got one that actually says tips and tricks to resolve pervasive errors. So it's a lot of what I've run over now. But you'll need to obviously scroll through and find them. And I will obviously put them in along with a lot of the information that we have on our Sage knowledge base. To get to our Sage knowledge base, it's sagekb.com. And then again, guys, you can just go into Sage 50C and you can search for what you are looking for. So guys, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read through the questions and I'm going to answer the questions. I'm going to answer the questions that are topic specific first. So on error code 20, 116, 161, 94. And guys, then if you have any other questions about Pastel, I will try to answer those to the best of my ability. So guys, I'm just going to quickly have a question. I'm just going to quickly check the questions. I know that a lot were you guys actually replying. Okay, guys, I hope that my screen didn't freeze on everyone. I do apologize. My screen may have freezed on your side. In that case, you needed to press F5. Okay, so guys, a lot of you were just, you guys letting me know you could hear me. Thank goodness. Okay. Okay, so guys, if you do have any questions, please send them through to me now. The only question that I actually currently have was someone actually asking what the difference is. So it's not topic related, but someone asked what is the difference between Pastel Desktop and Cloud? Called Sage 50 Cloud. Please do not mistake it for a cloud native product. It is not a cloud native product. Sage 50C is actually a desktop product still with cloud features. So basically it's cloud enabled. It means that you can make backups to the cloud, or you can integrate with your Office 365, and there are certain features that will be available, like Sage Contact in Outlook. It is still, however, not a cloud product. That does not, however, mean that you can't run it as a cloud solution. It just will not be a cloud native solution. Now, the difference with that is a cloud native solution. It means that the program itself is totally in the cloud, like Sage Business Cloud Accounting, whereas a cloud solution could be you have to pay to rent a cloud server. You will get hold of a service provider. You will tell them what you need. They will create basically a virtual machine in the cloud for you, where you will specify, this is the server software I need, this is the number of users that will access it, this is the amount of RAM we need, and they will then give you a price and access to that cloud server. On that cloud server, you can then install any software you want, including Pastel. What that will then mean is that, yes, you can have your users log into Pastel using an internet connection and something called a remote desktop connection, RDP. And they will then be able to use Pastel, and it will be a cloud solution, but not a native cloud solution. Native cloud solutions don't provide backups. In this situation, guys, you will still need to make your own backups. If there are updates in a native cloud environment, those updates are done automatically. There's downtime, the maintenance is done, and then you're advised that you can continue. In this situation, if there's an update, you will need to choose to update. So the 50 or the cloud part of 50 cloud means cloud enabled. It does not mean that it is actually a cloud package. If you want more information on the difference between Sage 50 Cloud and Sage Business Cloud Accounting, guys, I have a very nice infographic that does explain it. And actually on the knowledge base, guys, if you need to actually look at, you know, cloud solutions, I can't remember what my heading was, but can I run Pastel as a cloud solution? Guys, there were articles that I did write on this, and it should give you an understanding. So hopefully here an article will come up. How do I search for solutions? Guys, I will go and check, because that should have actually, yeah, best options when needing to work remotely. So you may have to look for it. I couldn't remember what I called it. It was last year, obviously, when COVID hit and everyone needed to know what to do. And guys, what this will do is this will give you the different options that are available to you. You can have a look at what those options are. And one that links in with this is what is the difference between VPN and RDP? Because a lot of people are like, can I use VPN to run my Pastel? And guys, yeah, you can. I just don't advise it, because you are running a live data set over the internet. Not a good idea. The difference between VPN and RDP, you are using the internet to access your system, but you are not running the database over the internet, so you're not updating over the internet. VPN, you're actually updating over the internet. It's very dangerous, causes a lot of corruption. So that's just a very, very quick tip. But guys, you're welcome to go have a look at that. Are there any other questions with regards to any of the content I've gone into? Guys, does anyone have any other questions about Pastel? Please bear in mind, I might not be able to answer everything, but I will give it my best shot. Please use the question icon right-hand side of your screen. The person who asked the question about the, you know, the cloud and how it works, hopefully I answered your question. Please let me know. Guys, I'm going to give it a few moments. Those of you who joined me, thank you so much. If you guys don't want to stick around for Q&A or you don't have any further questions, guys, you're welcome to log out. I will make this recording available, including the part where my system crashed. Again, my apologies for that. But guys, I will make the recording available to you, as well as send you an email with links to all the articles, the videos, etc., that we have available. And that should happen, I would say, by latest Friday. Please remember that we do have other sessions coming up, so please join those sessions if you're interested. And I hope that you have a wonderful afternoon and week further to those of you that don't want to stick around. Otherwise, guys, I will answer any further questions that come through. Thank you. Okay, so guys, we've got a very good question. If you are using Pastel Desktop, whether Express or Partner, can you move over to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, and will all your data be moved over? Yes, yes, you can. You can move over. We will need to do a conversion for you, but all of your data will move over for you. So guys, you can move over to Sage Business Cloud Accounting. There will be a conversion. Your data will be moved over for you. You cannot, however, move from Sage Business Cloud Accounting over to Pastel and have all of your data there. There you would have to take on balances. So we have created a utility to do that. If you are interested, I would strongly advise that you get hold of our sales team, and they will be able to give you more info. But yes, that is absolutely possible. Okay. Guys, if I talk about SBCA, Sage Business Cloud Accounting, just in case I have replied and you're like, what is SBCA? It's Sage Business Cloud Accounting. Okay, so guys, I don't see anything else. Guys, like always, if you do need to get hold of support, please remember that you can use our chat option. Alternatively, you can use our email, supportsa@sage.com. Otherwise, guys, I'm going to end the session there. I do hope, oh, sorry, guys, sorry. Hold on a sec. I see that I have another question. Okay, I'm just trying to get to that question. Okay, so guys, with Bank Manager, can you download debit orders to run in Netcash and Sage Pay? Not to my knowledge. Unfortunately, I would advise that possibly you get hold of our support team. To my knowledge, that's not possible, but I do stand corrected. So I'm 70% sure the answer is no, but I could be wrong. I would strongly advise that you get hold of the support team and just pose that question to them, please. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't believe so, but I'm not 100% certain that I'm correct. Okay, so guys, I don't see any other questions aside from my PC doing what it did. I do hope that you guys enjoyed the session. I do hope that you got some info out of it. And guys, I am running another session in about 2 weeks. I am slowly trying to do it on various errors. So guys, there are a number of errors that come up in Pastel. An hour certainly isn't enough. If there are specific errors that you would actually like me to do, guys, please let me know. And guys, if you would like me to also send you the list of webinars that I'm doing with their dates, I can absolutely attach that to the email with this recording. But if there's specific errors that you need me to run through, please also let me know. Guys, I do see a hand up, so if you are typing, I will absolutely wait for you. So whoever raised their hand, I do see it. But thank you so much for that. My next webinar, I actually can't remember what I'm running it on. I'm so sorry. I put the schedule together last year, and then obviously as they come up, I just put my content together. So I will have to double check, and it's unfortunately on my work laptop, which I need to fix quickly. So guys, I'm so sorry I can't tell you exactly what my webinar is on, but I will definitely send you the list. I've got it in a very nice Word document. And guys, please remember that you can sign up for those. So actually every topic for the year I have already put forward. But if that needs to be changed, please let me know and I will change them accordingly. Okay, so guys, I do have another question. Again, guys, if you're happy, you're welcome to log out. This is again with regards to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, with regards to the features. So Express and Sage Business Cloud Accounting are very, in terms of features, they're very similar. In fact, Sage Business Cloud Accounting has some extra features that Express wouldn't have. So in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, you have the ability of doing recurring invoices, which is very cool. And those recurring invoices can actually run automatically. So you can schedule them to run automatically. And that is a very nice feature that Express doesn't have. Partner does have recurring invoices, but again, guys, they're not automated. You do also have foreign currency on, say, Business Cloud Accounting, Debtors Manager, Advanced Inventory, and I think Time and Billing. But again, I do stand corrected. Unfortunately, I'm more specialist on the 50C side. So again, double check with sales what they have. But to my knowledge, the features are very similar. The way you work, however, is very different. So you would need to get used to a new way of working with your Express and with your actual Sage 50 program. Guys, it's all about what you are doing. So you'll see in your program, it'll say view, or it'll say process, or it'll say setup, change. So it's what am I doing? In Sage Business Cloud Accounting, it's what are you working with? So there, the menu is totally different. It's, am I working with customers? And you'll go to customers, and in customers, you will find everything. You will have your creating your customers, you will have your processing your customers, you will have your reports for customers. So it's all under the customer heading. My best advice would be this. Go to sage.com/ZA. And you can sign up for a 30-day free trial of Sage Business Cloud Accounting. And it's very, very nice because then you can get a feel for the program and if it will work the way that you want to. So you can see that obviously they are promoting that. Likewise, you can also go there or you can just go find out more. Guys, just something to bear in mind, if you are using Sage Pastel Payroll as well as Sage Pastel Accounting, our Sage Pastel Payroll does not integrate with Sage Business Cloud Accounting. There you would then need to look at Sage Business Cloud Payroll. So Pastel Payroll and Pastel Accounting go together, Sage Business Cloud Accounting and Sage Business Cloud Payroll go together. So please just bear that in mind if you are looking at that. Basically, here you will see our Sage Cloud. You're going to go to Discover More. In the Discover More, it should then advise you everything about it. Collaboration is going to give you some info. Here, obviously, you'll see it'll ask you for a trial, but I just went no thanks. Because here you'll be able to see various information and right at the bottom, start your 30-day free trial. Now, guys, one of the nice things with Sage Business Cloud Accounting is it can work on any device. So this includes a laptop, it includes a tablet, and yes, you can even use it on your phone. I would not advise phone because they're little and you're working with your accounts, but it does work on both Android and iOS. And guys, here you can see all the different information that you need. And if you want to go to features, your features will then tell you debtors manager, advanced inventory, invoicing, stock management, see all features. And here you can also check your pricing. So guys, what you will find is Sage Business Cloud Accounting is cheaper than your Pastel Accounting, but there are limits. So there are limits on companies, there are limits on the number of users. It is for small businesses. So it only goes up to 5 users. So that's something to bear in mind. And then it will tell you yearly or monthly. So guys, please come here if you are interested. I would strongly advise that you do the 30-day free trial, because as advised, the way it works is very different to the way that your Pastel works. And there may be some adjustment that needs to take place. The features are there, but it doesn't work the same way. You're gonna find things are a little bit different. And you might even find some of the reports have a different name to what you used to in your Express. So it's a good idea to familiarize yourself. That support team is amazing though, and if you need to get hold of them for help, they'll be more than happy to assist you. Guys, I hope that kind of answers that question. As I said, unfortunately, I'm not an expert in it, but I will give you as much info as I can about it. Guys, with regards to prep for year end and channels available, so guys, much like you are in the session, I don't know if any of you remember Q&A Live. It was a pilot project that we ran last year from March to November. In March, it was quite successful. Unfortunately, from about August, the numbers started to dwindle. So what Q&A Live was it was an all-day session from 8 until 4 that was run, and what you guys are in right now was what Q&A was. So you would come in when you had a question, you'd ask a question, myself or Lloyd would answer that question and you could jump out. Unfortunately, we did stop it because the numbers didn't warrant us continuing. People kind of still prefer to phone. But over year end, what we are going to do, and you may find that from, I think that's the Feb to about April, I'm not running webinars. The reason for that is that I'm going to be running year-end Q&A every single day from 4 until 8 possibly. We're still looking at that, but at the very least, I will run at least 2 sessions a day. So I'll run 1 session in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. And guys, what it is going to be on is it is going to be on year-end. It is going to be on year-end prep as well. Please look out for this month's newsletter. It should go out next week, Wednesday. Guys, everything for year-end prep is going to be there. Please also remember that you do have Sage City, and in Sage City, we do have our year-end center. So guys, that's really important, and all of the information, it's actually stuff I'm currently working on. I'm reviewing the info, I'm making sure it's correct. But the year-end center is where all the new info is going to be, and in fact, the info that is there is actually 99% correct. Like guys, nothing has really changed with year end. We are just changing the way that we do certain things. So for example, modules affected this year, what I am changing is there are going to be 2 different running year end. So how to use the year end assistant, there are going to be 2 options for that. One is if you do not use SQL point of sale and debtors manager, and one is going to be if you do use it. And guys, the reason for that is a lot of times people don't realize that when running year end, if you are using point of sale SQL, you cannot run the year end in the new company. You will break your SQL link and you will have a blank database. So please look out for this. But we do have the year end center. This links to our infographics. This links to our videos. And guys, here obviously the Q&A Live no longer works, but this will be reinstated for our year end. So you can come to the year end center, you can look for the news flash, which should go out next week, hopefully Wednesday, but definitely by Friday. and I will be running webinars throughout year end, on the prep, on what you need to do, on if you've made mistakes. So please look out for that. So yeah, there will be a number of channels. Guys, the newsletter should be posted to your email. If it's not posted to your email by next week, Friday, please send me an email and just go, hi Joe, can you send me the news flash? I'll be more than happy to send it to you. It's something that actually goes out monthly. Please also check your junk mail and your spam, because guys, it does look like it comes from marketing. Unfortunately, again, I can't show you what it looks like. I'm not on my work laptop, but please check that. As well, guys, you can also go to the Sage KB. We do upload the news flash here, and it is also on Sage City if you do miss it. And if you go in, sorry, just so that if you do miss it and you want to check, you can go news flash. And guys, this should show you the latest news flashes. I don't know if December's here, but guys, please remember that if you open up and it asks you to sign in or sign up, you do need to do that. So it's not broken. It is not that you don't have it. It's not that you can't get in. You just need to log in with your login details. Guys, please don't use this email address to get hold of me. It will not work. I only use it for this. I do not look at it. It is a private email. So just in case anyone saw that and thought, great, that's my email. No, it's not. Not even remotely. This is just a Gmail account that I use here so that you guys can see what it looks like when a customer logs in. So guys, once you log in, this is what you'll see. Okay, so guys, my apologies. I thought that November and December had been added. I will add that during the course of today so that you can see those. But basically, you can go and view every single news flash from May. What will basically happen is it is going to take you to our Sage City post. And I do know November and December are on Sage City. So obviously, guys, apologies. There are 3 of us that update this. And I was on leave, so it's possible that my colleagues just forgot. It's something I generally do, so I do apologize. This will be updated. But basically, guys, if you don't get the news flash, you can come here. It should be updated here, or you can look in Sage City as well, or alternatively, you can just ask me to send it to you, because your email might, I don't know how your IT have set stuff up, but it might be blocking it. So guys, for those of you who don't have my email, guys, please bear in mind, if it is support related, please don't email me your questions. The reason for that is, unfortunately, at times I have been inundated and it has caused a delay or even a lack of response from me. And that is the last thing I want, is that you don't get the assistance you need. You do need to follow support channels, supportsa@sage.com for your support related issues. But if you need to ask me for the news flash, or do you have a video, or do you have a document, guys, you're welcome to email joanne.barnard@sage.com. So guys, if it is support related, you're having a problem, you're having an issue, as much as I would love to help you, we do need a valid, basically a log of the fact that you've gotten hold of us. I was trying to assist, but it did lead to me, unfortunately, a couple of emails falling through the cracks, and it's the last thing I want to happen. So I do ask for support-related queries. You send to supportsa@sage.com. But if you need to ask me about a webinar for Sage 50C, if you need a news flash, if you need to find out if there's documentation or video, you are welcome to go there. Guys, if you don't see my email, please bear in mind that you will receive an email from me latest Friday with all the information about this webinar. So you will get my email anyway. So don't stress about it. It is my name and my surname, so joanne.barnard@sage.com. Okay, otherwise, guys, that's it for the session. I do hope that you have a fantastic day and a fantastic week further. And please look out for that email with regards to all the information for you. Thank you so much for joining.